1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer.
Look at him go! He simply runs out of his shoe. He's running so fast.
And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots.
Watch for the great block by Keith Byars on Pepper Johnson. Bam! Right there. Byars just nailed it.
He's Dayton's own Keith Byars. It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, next like afternoon. Hey, it's a little after 12 o'clock. It's the Keith Byars Radio Show. And this is my show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Let's give you the phone number to call for your questions, comments, and concerns. Because I know you watched Super Bowl yesterday. Number is 937-457-9464. One more time, 937-457-9464. You can hit me on Twitter. Also at KAB, as in Byars 41. At Twitter, KAB41. You get me on your Twitter if you're at work and you don't want the boss man or woman or your boss, period, to, hey, what you doing? So you can text in your question. What a Super Bowl. Super Bowl 55 was played yesterday, and I guess everybody knows right now who won that football game. Yes, it was a Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-9 over the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, a lot of people lost money yesterday because they had the Kansas City Chiefs winning, and they had the point spread, which I don't worry too much about point spreads. I just like win or lose. And a majority of people chose Kansas City. Even I have a little pool of friends that we get together every year during the football season, and every Sunday we choose a winner and loser just amongst ourselves. And, of course, we did that for the Super Bowl. And my pick yesterday, I chose the Kansas City Chiefs. But even when I chose it, I said, I don't feel too good about it. I said, my head and heart says Kansas City, but my gut says Tampa, and I'm not going to change my answer. Now I'm going to go with Kansas City. And I was wrong, but that was okay. I kind of expected it. But my son, he chose Tampa, so I guess I'm raising him better, even though he's grown now. He's 26 years old. I said, you sure you want to go with Tampa? Dad, I've got a feeling. I'm like, boy, you are my son. We both had the same feeling, but I put my name in the hat for Kansas City, but he won, I lost. And my daughter, she's a Tom Brady fan. And she was, Dad, I can't go against Brady. I've been with him since New England. So she won. And me and my wife said, honey, I don't want to influence you. Which way you going? She said, I'm Kansas City. I love Pat Mahomes. I said, okay. So we was a divided household. But nevertheless, I know a lot of people didn't like the Super Bowl. It wasn't one of the better games. It was boring. It just wasn't that good. I turned my television off. Sure, some of y'all did. Sure you did. But it was a game. It was our last football game until the fall. So you had to enjoy it. My greatest desire was it to come down to the last 6 minutes of the game, and somebody needs to score and somebody needs to stop them. And, I was one of the nail biter of a fourth quarter, which that was not to be the case, and I'm going to get into all the reasons why, of that. So I'm going to just take a minute to say, hey, that was our first pandemic Super Bowl. It was social distancing to somewhat, for a Super Bowl, but it still seemed to be is going to be some kind of a spreader event. But nevertheless, coronavirus is out there. It is real. Let's do what we have to do. Take care of one another. Even though it was 25 to 30,000 people at the game, they're coming from all over the country. We still have to take care of one another locally. So wear your mask, keep your distance. Let's get this coronavirus behind us. We're in the middle of Black History Month. It just started last Monday was the first day of Black History Month, the month of February. So happy Black History Month to everyone. Black lives do matter. It's it's now, not later. It's not a slogan, it's a movement. And we have got to do a better job of that. I keep saying it. I'm going to continue to say it until we make a difference. But the Super Bowl yesterday, for, all the sports fans who watched it, and you chose Kansas City, or some of you guys chose Tampa. My producer over here, Justin Kenner, he said, I'm always going with the underdogs. I'm going with Tampa. I'm like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. Okay. So Justin chose Tampa. one of the other good buddies, Mark Schlemmer, he's like, I'm not ever going against Tom Brady. And maybe after he retires, but Mark Schlemmer chose Tampa. So it was and some of my friends said, no, I don't even want to get in it. I just want to watch. But like I said, I love watching football. I'm a football lifer. But let's get into what went right, what went wrong in the Super Bowl. And the same thing is always the case. I'll simplify it, to a certain degree. The teams that do not make the playoffs in the postseason in the NFL, the reason why they don't make the simplification, the reason why they don't make the playoffs, because their teams have more weaknesses than strengths. And that's why they came up short. That's just simply the fact. Now, the teams that do make the playoffs, every team that made the playoffs, that means the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Steelers, et cetera, et cetera. The reason why they made the playoffs is because they had more strengths than weaknesses. Now that they're in the playoffs, what gets you out of the playoffs? Your weaknesses get exposed more so than your strengths because you're going against another stronger team, and they were able to impose their will on you first, and they was able to highlight your weaknesses before you could get to their weaknesses. Hence, you come up short. The Cleveland Browns lost, to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round is because Cleveland got away from what they do best, is running the football. Their passing game was somewhat exposed. They're not a weak passing game, but it wasn't as strong as Kansas City. They lost. So Kansas City, the reason why we're not celebrating them today as repeat, Super Bowl champions, because it's only happened 6 times in the history of the NFL, 101-year history. Teams that go back to back is rare. It's hard to do. The Green Bay Packers did it first. They won the first 2 Super Bowls, didn't get to the third one. And then Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl for the AFC, and it's the first time they won the Super Bowl. Then a few years after that, the great Miami Dolphins, the undefeated, the perfect 72-0, 17-win Miami Dolphins team, they go back-to-back, 72 and 73. Wow. And then it happens again with the Steel Curtain Pittsburgh Steelers. They win 75 and 76, took a couple years off, and then they come back and win it in, 78 and 79. So they happened twice for the Steelers. And it kind of looks like, well, there's not been that many Super Bowls. It's pretty easy to go back to back. Then it doesn't happen again until the 80s. When the San Francisco 49ers, they go back-to-back in 88, 89. It don't look so, okay, it happened last 2 decades. It can happen again. Then a couple more years, and then the Dallas Cowboys, they go back-to-back in 92 and 93. And then it doesn't happen anymore until the New England Patriots do it. It was 2005 and 2006 when they go back-to-back. And now it's been over a decade since that's happened. And all the previous Super Bowl champions, you're like, oh, this team is built to last. Look at the 85 Bears. Man, that team is just indestructible. They're going to come back and win multiple Super Bowls. They never got back to a Super Bowl one more time many years later with Lovie Smith. So you have to appreciate greatness and when you're in opportunity to get it. The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year. And when you look back over their schedule this year, it didn't seem that difficult. After regular season, they go 14-2, win their 2 postseason games. They're the number 1 seed. They're playing Tampa, who's not the number 1 seed in the NFC East. NFC Central, not even the 2nd seed. They're like the 5th seed, if I'm right, Justin. I think they were 5th or 6th seed team in the playoffs. Yet they had to go on and win 3 road games. They go to Washington, win. They go to New Orleans, win. Go to Green Bay, win. And they go to the Super Bowl, which was a quote-unquote home game because it was in Tampa. And they win, but that was 4 games. They were the road team and won the Super Bowl against the defending champs. Yeah, that's it. So, my goodness, you have to take your hats off to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to say this earlier. I'll say it again later on in the show. Tom Brady is not the GOAT. I know that's killing the radio waves, the TV waves, the internet, every other kind of way forms of communication. Tom Brady, and I am a huge Tom Brady fan. Even though he went to that school up north, that's only on Saturdays, but on Sundays I have a different attitude about my players and the way I feel about you on Sundays. But as far as Saturdays go, Tom Brady can kick rocks. But on Sundays in the NFL, Tom Brady can play for me. He's that good. And you have to give credit where credit is due. That being said, Tom Brady is not the GOAT in National Football League. And I'm not hating on Brady or anything like that. I just expressed a lot of love for him. But to be the GOAT in any sport, it is hard to do that. I mean, so let's talk about football. In football, you got 22 positions on the field. You have 22 guys, 11 on offense, 11 on defense. To single any one player out as the greatest of all time is almost impossible. And I've been watching football for 57 years. I've been on this earth. Even when I was in the crib in diapers, I was like, turn the TV, the football game. I need to see Leroy Kelly. Grew up a Cleveland Browns fan. I've seen it all. Not all. I've seen the majority of it. I've seen films. But outside linebacker position in the National Football League, there is a GOAT, and his name is Lawrence Taylor, LT, New York Giants. He is the greatest outside linebacker to ever play the game. I don't care who other outside linebacker has come since him or even before him, is still Lawrence Taylor until proven otherwise. The greatest defensive end to ever played in the National Football League for 101 years is Reggie White. It's been a lot of great defensive ends. Just like there have been a lot of great outside linebackers, but Reggie White is the greatest defensive end to ever play. I don't care who else you come up with. Reggie White is the greatest. When you're talking quarterback, who is a GOAT quarterback? There is none. There's a lot of candidates and a small list of candidates, but there's not one. You can tell me Tom Brady. I can tell you Joe Montana. I can tell you Dan Marino. I can tell you John Elway. There's Johnny Unitas. There's a lot of great players who have played the quarterback position. To say one guy is the greatest? Now, why do you say one guy, why do you say one guy is the greatest based upon what? And the formula most people use is because, his team has won 7 Super Bowls, or they say it another way, Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls, as if he plays defense, special teams, and everything else. Football is the greatest team sport there is because you cannot have individual success without others around you. You can have individual success on the basketball court. You can get the rebound yourself, dribble down court, score the point, come back, play defense, steal the ball, and go repeat it and do it again. And you just need some help, along the way. But you can have a great deal of impact on both ends of the court as a basketball player. A baseball player, as long as everybody keeps the game close, you're going to probably guarantee if you're a position player to get at least 3 to 4 bats a game. That means you got 3 or 4 times to hit a home run and to get an RBI. You don't need somebody on base to get an RBI. You can be your own RBI. Go out there and go 4 for 4 and hit 4 home runs. And hope your pitcher kept the game close so you could still win. So you can have individual success that would, format on the whole team. That can, but in football, you cannot have individual success without others. All the running yards and touchdowns I scored, I could not do that on my own. Somebody has to snap the ball to the quarterback. Somebody has to block. Somebody's got to hand the ball to the running back or throw the ball to the wide receiver. And it takes a team effort to do that. So to say one guy is the reason for all that, no, don't do that. It's just too much oversimplification of a narrative that you want to push forward. Because Tom Brady has won his team. I always say his team. I never say Tom Brady, his own self, has won 7 Super Bowls. No, his teams have won 7 Super Bowls. So with that being said, he's won 7, and that's the argument you want to use to say he is the greatest because his team, he has the most Super Bowl wins because he has 7 of them. Then we go to basketball and say Bill Russell's the greatest basketball player ever played. Well, come on, Keith. Why? Because he has 13 rings. He won 13 championships. That's twice than Michael Jordan 6 that he won. So Michael Jordan is in the conversation. He's my personally GOAT is GOAT for number one basketball player of all time. And even I say that with an asterisk, that's in my opinion. It's arguably he's the greatest. It's always between Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain. Any one of those three names you name, I won't argue. I just couldn't. You're making me name one. My one would be Michael Jordan. But if your one is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I'm gonna clap. It's probably one of my ones too. I don't really have. It's just too close to call. And I'm not. This is not hate speech on Tom Brady. Now, is Tom Brady on the short list of the greatest quarterback to ever play? Absolutely. Tom Brady is that. But to call Tom Brady the one guy individually, the GOAT, no. He could be your personal GOAT, then I have no problem with that. If you chose Tom Brady to be your personal GOAT quarterback of all time, hey, no problem. You're okay. Because my personal GOAT quarterback of all time is Dan Marino. If I have to have one quarterback for one drive and I need us to get it in there in one good throw, I'm going to put it on Dan Marino. And I can live with the results. That's just me. Yes, I play with Dan, so you call me biased or whatever you want. But, hey, that guy can sling the ball. But so can a whole lot of other guys sling it around too. So I'm just trying to say that to temper down all this hype that you're going to hear, all day today and for most of the offseason until the next season starts. Because it wasn't too long ago. You go back about 3 months ago when Tampa was struggling in early to mid-October. Oh, man, Brady, it's over. It's over, especially after New Orleans spanked them twice during the regular season. Kansas City went down there, wore them out, and that was their last loss, by the way, after Kansas City beat them during the regular season. You have to look at the big picture and not just be myopic and seeing whatever I saw lately in such a small lens. They come up with these things, just emotions involved. So when you go to work, when you're sitting there around the house talking with your buddies, or you're sitting around a campfire having these discussions, hey, just look at the big picture and appreciate Tom Brady and what he's done and how he's played. I mean, he definitely has a presence and an aura that gets to be contagious, and guys want to play with him and they want to play hard along with him. Yes, that's what greatness is. I mean, I was on this other opposite sideline of Joe Montana on many Sundays. Like, man, I wouldn't have been in a huddle with that cat. That dude is a winner. And I've had that appreciated by a whole lot of other guys, other talents, of other positions. I would have loved to play with Doug Williams. Would have loved to play with Warren Moon. Fortunate to play at Randall Cunningham. Remember being in the Pro Bowl with John Elway. Oh, that was awesome. To play with, great players, like that. But I digress. Let's get back to the Super Bowl review and what are the reasons. I got a whole laundry list of things to talk about for our Super Bowl. I know everybody's every lunch break, and you had the water cooler, and you're talking about, hey, you see that game last night? What do you think about X, Y, and Z? So I just want to give you some ammunition before we go to the break, that you'll continue to talk about that. Some of the reasons why Tampa Bay won and some of the reasons why Kansas City lost was simply a few things, and I'll get to them other after the break. But Kansas City, not once did they commit to the running game. If they had a run the ball, I know the Cleveland Browns fans are like, what? If they had a run the ball, they would have been much more successful, because when the few times they ran the ball against Tampa, they had success. Another thing, when your offensive line is banged up, and Kansas City's were, you want to help out your young offensive lineman as best you can, and that's start to run the ball. Don't let teams, we used to call, pull your ears back and go rush the quarterback. They ain't worried about the running game. They're just trying to beat up on Pat Mahomes. And you got to help your offensive lineman out. You put them at a bad position. And so I named two things, and what is the third thing? And the reason why that happened is because of the coach, Andy Reid. Andy Reid, you take all the kudos when things go well. Well, you got to take the kick in the pants when things go bad. That was your fault. Andy Reid, you're one of the best coaches in national football, no question. Not the top. That's still in the guy in New England by the name of Bill Belichick. He's the best quarterback. He's the best coach in the National Football League. And then tier below him is Andy Reid is on that level. But you had a horrible game. Just like players, have horrible games. Sometimes your jump shot isn't working. Your fastball ain't, not being fast, and your curveball not breaking. Andy Reid coached a horrible game yesterday. He let his team down in one of the biggest moments. Andy Reid was not there. He did not have his team ready to play. They came out flat as a pancake. They didn't really have any new wrinkles, and they thought, oh, we whipped up on Tampa, a few weeks ago, 2 months ago, same thing. No. And it's hard, even as a division opponents, it's hard to beat them twice. So this is the second time they're playing you, Kansas City Chiefs, for all the marbles, and you have nothing new. Was the cheetah at the game? Tyreek Hill, he didn't make very many plays. Hardeman, number 17, not very many plays. And the lack of discipline, don't even get me started on that, but I will after the break. You're listening to the Keith Byars radio show presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
I absolutely love my dog, but the constant shedding, not so much. But then I got a Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, and it is amazing. These super thick cloths pick up a crazy amount of hair. Just look at all that. And that was from just one swipe. And the best part? Sweeper's so much easier to maneuver than a broom or a vacuum, easily getting around chairs and under the couch. You're right. Now I can focus on you, not your shedding. Swiffer Sweeper Pet Kit, because shed happens.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
You need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 WING. Order your Valentine's Day bouquet now at 937-223-1213 or online at firsttheflorist.com. FURST, First Florist and Greenhouses.
Okay, we've got Rick here, a veteran in the league who's gone 0-2 the past Valentine's Days. Do you think he can pull off a win this year?
I always like an underdog, Bob, but I'm not sure about this guy.
He's passing aisle 3, picks up a bag of wings, he dodges the produce section.
But will he pick up the heart-shaped box?
Heading toward the candy aisle, he's picking up speed. Oh no, he chokes and heads straight to the checkout.
Unbelievable. This close to Valentine's Day.
Don't be a Rick. Make happy this Valentine's Day with a heart-shaped box of Russell Stover chocolates.
This week at Macy's, use your coupon or Macy's card and get an extra 20% off just in time for Valentine's Day. Save on top of already great deals like 35 to 55% off dazzling diamonds, gemstones, and more. And sleek handbags and wallets from Kipling, Nine West, Inc., and more top designers. Now 25% off. Plus, Star Money bonus days are going on now. Learn more at Macy's.com/StarMoney. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Spending more time at home? There has never been a better time to invest in your home. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. Can't get to the big game? No problem. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc. today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Surround sound? You haven't heard surround sound till you hear Dolby Atmos 360 degrees. Put you smack dab in the middle with 11.2 channel surround sound. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Byars and Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. Stop by and experience the crazy cool showroom, the top brands, excellent service, and knowledgeable staff. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom. In every relationship, there's a short list of forgivable offenses, but missing the most romantic day of the year isn't one of them. Valentine's is here, so don't wait. Head to 1-800-Flowers.com today. Right now, 1-800-Flowers has a last-minute offer for our listeners. Get 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 more. All roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak, cared for every step of the way, and shipped fresh to ensure lasting beauty. Order now and get 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 more. Get right to the romance this Valentine's and find a way to wow with 1-800-Flowers.com. To order 24 multicolored roses for $34.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code BART. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code BART. Hurry! Offer expires Wednesday.
New to the Wendy's 2 for $5 lineup is their classic chicken sandwich. Go grab a 2 for $5 deal and pick 2 faves like a Dave Single Nugs and now the classic chicken sandwich 2 for $5. Price and participation may vary, limited time.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzzed driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
1410 ESPN Radio is Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes on the hardwood. Football may be over, but basketball is just heating up. Support Chris Holtman and his Buckeyes as they battle it out in the toughest conference in all of college basketball, the Big Ten. Every dribble, every shot, every Buckeyes win. Catch it all right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Phone number to call is 937-457-9464. You can hit me on Twitter, also at KAB41. Before we went to the break, we were talking about numerous things, but one of the reasons why Kansas City lost and Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl. And, taking somebody who's played in the Super Bowl, come up on the short end of it, it's something that's going to stick with you, a long, long time. But, yeah, when you lose, it hurts. It's probably one of the biggest hurts you'll have as far as, you playing. But, you have to pick it up and go on. But the reason why it's a bigger hurt is because it's the biggest game on the national platform. Everybody dreams up growing to want to play in that game. And so everything is magnified to the 10th power. of those games, and you want to play your best and you want to give out your best effort so that when the game is over, you can look in the mirror and be, okay with the results, whether it went in your favor or not. And that's, I came up on the short end of Super Bowl 31, but I looked in the mirror after the game and said, did I do everything that you could possibly do to help your team win? And if that answer is yes, you can live with it. If it's no, you got to, try to do something about it. And my answer was yes. I mean, I did everything I could do, to help my team win. But we came out on the short end of the stick, and you have to live with the results. And if you're a Kansas City Chief, player, that's a hard pill to swallow. But, you got to look, you got to look higher than the players, and that's the coaching staff or the coaches. But a coach. I'm not going to throw the coaches, because when things are going well, it's all about Andy Reid. Then they loosely mention a few of his coaches, meaning, Eric Bieniemy and Spagnuolo, get their name mentioned. They're the two coordinators. But it's all about Andy Reid. And when things are going bad, it's all about the players. But not on this show. And like I said, I know Andy Reid personally, big fan of his, but Andy Reid got out coached yesterday. He didn't have his team, prepared to play. And it almost looked like he was satisfied with just last year's results. Like, well, if we win 2, great. But that sense of urgency wasn't there. It wasn't there yesterday, and it starts up top. I mean, at one point in the second half, I seen him over there cozying up next to Eric Bieniemy on the sideline, like, let me share notes with you. Now you want to ask Eric Bieniemy, what's going on? No, you're on your own. And I didn't think he did. He did not do a good job. What the coach on the other sideline, name I haven't mentioned yet, Bruce Arians, did an outstanding job. Outstanding job. I mean, Bruce Arians was coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers for many years, had a lot of success. Successful coach in Arizona, had him in the Super Bowl, and I tell you, he did an outstanding job. Bruce Arians did, but Bruce Arians is willing to share the love around. I mean, when Bruce Arians came out of quote unquote retirement to come back to Tampa, and a couple of his first hires were putting the staff together, he hired 2 black coordinators, and at the time, the question, I don't know why I even question Bruce Arians, but the climate that we're in, I bring in the show, talking about Black Lives Matter, we got to end systematic racism. Bruce, I had the utmost respect for Bruce Arians, because when he made the comment was, if I don't hire, minority coaches, who will? We keep talking about, these guys are deserving for opportunities, yet their opportunities are not afforded to them. So if I'm in this position to hire a minority, who's somebody not just because they're a minority, because they're deserving, they're double, double qualified, then why not? If I don't hire him, who will? So he gave Byron Leftwich the chance to be a coordinator. When Todd Bowles got released from the Jets, fired from the Jets, he hired him as well. And I have a lot of respect for Bruce Arians, whether they won the Super Bowl or not, but just that comment that he made a couple of years ago. And he's, bearing the fruits of, his, I hate to even say taking a chance, by him doing a good deed, by giving these guys an opportunity. And I said it to, my producer last week. I asked Justin, I said, Justin Kenner, let's see how much, it's Monday. Let's see how much Byron Leftwich's names get mentioned between now and Sunday. And his name didn't get hardly mentioned all week long. Get overlooked, undervalued, and they just and marginalized, underestimated. And Byron Leftwich was one of the unsung heroes of the game yesterday. That game he called offensively was outstanding. Todd Bowles, defense coordinator for Tampa, he put in effect everything that you want to do when you talk about stopping the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to cover the wideouts. You got to make Pat Mahomes uncomfortable. You got to get in his face. You got to do this and got to do this. Yes, easier said than done. Well, Tampa did it yesterday. And you got to give credit where credit is due, and that's the defensive coordinator and the whole coaching staff. You look you look at Tampa Bay's coaching staff. They have more minorities on their coaching staff by far than anybody in the National Football League. They even have a female on their coaching staff. Something about diversity. So hey, Tampa's doing things, I'll say the right way, but it should be not. I don't even know the right way is the correct term, but they're doing things the right way correctly. They're breaking it. So here it is, the day after the Super Bowl, and even before the Super Bowl was even played, it was Eric Bieniemy, one of the hottest names out there coaching, doesn't get a head coaching job. Does not get. There was 6 jobs available. Only one minority, or 2 minorities, including Robert Saleh, got a job. There's only 3 African-American coaches in the National Football League. That is, these numbers are not getting better. And I don't even know, I shouldn't even have to say this. Well, because you want to hire people because they're black? No. Come on, guys, stop it. Don't even think like that. I only said that way because I know some people that have thought processes like that. No, they need to be hired because they are deserving. How much more? I mean, I just talked about it a few weeks ago. The coach of San Diego, well, I still say San Diego, the Chargers, ex-University of Dayton quarterback. Hey, you get fast-tracked, and now he's got a big job, for the Los Angeles Chargers. It's just not fair. And until we continue to take advantage of the platforms and keep pressure on so that everyone can succeed. I mean, it's a travesty of justice. I mean, Todd Bowles had one interview, and that was a Zoom interview with the Eagles for a head coaching job. 1. Byron Leftwich, 0. Eric Bieniemy, what he had? I think he had 2 or 3. And now the Super Bowl's over. All the jobs are already filled. And these owners, guys, they I read something this morning as far as, the hiring practices, excuse me, in the NFL. And I was thinking both ways about it, but I'm going to lean toward this way because it said they should freeze the hiring of head coaches in the National Football League until after the Super Bowl. And I think I'm leaning heavily, toward that. So if you fire your coach in week 10 or week 11 of the season, and you want to hire another head coach permanently before the season is over, before everybody's played 16 games, I'm okay with that. But once the regular season is complete, there's no more hiring of head coaches until after the Super Bowl. Because a lot of these coaches are getting penalized, black, white, red, brown, doesn't matter. They're getting penalized because their teams are still in the playoffs. And I know they've made it a way for the ownership to talk to these coaches while their teams are still active. But really, I mean, they're getting ready for a game, and then they got to also take some time to prep for an interview for a potential job. Come on now. That's just not fair to the recipients or employee, the guys are trying to get a head coaching job because they're still in the playoffs. So what they should do is put a moratorium on hiring practices. After the regular season is over with, you can't hire anybody until 4 days after the Super Bowl, till 3 or 4 days after the Super Bowl. So now the Super Bowl's over with. The Kansas City Chiefs coaches and the Tampa Bay coaches on equal footing with all the other teams' coaches who are looking for a new job. They'll want them to get a chance to be elevated. So, you can have an idea of who you want, but you can't officially hire anyone until after the Super Bowl. What are you missing in the month of January? Especially if the Bengals, which they should have been, looking for a coach. If the Bengals, was up for a coach and the season ended in December, what's the harm in waiting until February to hire his replacement? That's what I think should do. And there needs to be more of that, standard out there. But let me go back to the game before I run out of time. A couple of points I wanted to make on the winners or losers of the game. Kansas City Chiefs, another reason why you lost, your lack of discipline. You had 7 penalties in the first half, and 4 of them was on defense. Holding calls, pass interference calls, and most of those led to points. No, all of them led to points. Excuse me. All of them led to points. Tyrann Mathieu, number 32, was totally out of control. The safety for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, he runs. He reminds me of. Not hate to compare people to animals, but we do it in the positive. We call Tyreek Hill. He's like a cheetah. He's so fast. So Tyrann Mathieu is almost like a little chihuahua, always barking at your ankles. Just a little barker. Just talks. And then that 15, I mean, he had a pass interference penalty in the end zone, put the ball on the 1-yard line. The Patriots go in to throw a touchdown pass to Antonio Brown. And as Tom Brady is running off the field, Tyrann Mathieu is going to jump in his face, and then Brady goes chasing him. Why? And who gets penalized? Tyrann Mathieu. You know, because he instigated it. But Brady retaliated. If anything about that call, it should have been offsetting on both sides. But why even put your team in that position, Tyrann Mathieu? That's being selfish. That's undisciplined, which goes back to Andy Reid. It's the little things. Little things. Now, one time, Tampa's players got out of control, and that was Antoine Winfield. I know he went to Minnesota, but I always want to call him a Buckeye because his father went to Ohio State. Antoine Winfield. Winfield, when he defensive pass against Tyreek Hill on 4th down, and after that he taunted him and got a 15-yard penalty. And how did he taunt him? He went up and put 2 fingers up to signify the peace sign. And I was watching the game, and I was like, why? Why would you do that? You cost your team 15 yards. That's so dumb. Quit being selfish. And then I did some research. I'm like, when they played earlier in the season, Tyreek Hill went long and went the distance, took him deep, and he gave Antoine Winfield the peace sign as he was sprinting past him, getting in a cheetah mode. And Antoine did not forget that moment. He posterized him. So, give me the peace sign as you run by me. Okay, I'm going to remember that. And lo and behold, so when it happened in the Super Bowl, he batted the ball down, then turned and got in his face and gave him the peace sign. I was upset, but I stand corrected. I'm okay with that. Yes, I'm petty. Yeah, I'm okay with being petty like that. It's okay. I'm totally, 100%, behind you when things like that happen. Because, yes, I have a radio show. Yes, I was a former player, and I'm not going to act like, sometimes I got to be petty too. Sometimes you got to get some get back. Quick story. When I was playing for the Eagles, we were playing Washington, and Washington was winning the game. And, a lot of times in the game, you see the quarterback throw, a Hail Mary pass toward the end zone. Well, Randall Cunningham did that. We were playing in Philadelphia. He threw a Hail Mary pass, and I was about 50 yards away from the ball because I was in the backfield, and I ran through the line. Next thing I know, I see the ball go down the field, and I'm following the ball with my eyes, and my head turns, and out of nowhere, Wilbur Marshall comes up from behind and just tries to decapitate me, hit me with a forearm across the back of my head. I guess they would call it a donkey punch in today's word. So he donkey punches me in the back of the head and runs off the field, last play of the game. I get up the ground, and only thing I could see is number 58 running toward the visitors' locker room. And, the old commercial with the little birds flying around your head going, cuckoo, cuckoo. That's all I could see. He cleaned my clock. I'm pissed. Oh, am I allowed to say pissed on the wear? Okay.
You said it twice.
I said it twice. I'm hot. And, that was the second time we played them. So we didn't play them anymore that year. So the following season, we played them in like week 3 of the season. And I can't wait to get Wilbur Marshall back. In this particular time, it was in the first quarter. I was lined up out wide, and we run a toss play, and my job was to block the safety or the corner, but Wilbur Marshall plays outside linebacker, so I intentionally blew my assignment, and I made a beeline at Wilbur Marshall. Neither he turns, and he gets nothing but a face full of Keith Byars, and I just lay him out. I mean, I get his feet are pointing to the top of RFK Stadium. I'm standing over him. I'm just, giving him the business. I can't say words I can't say on the radio, but I was all up in his face saying some things that my parents would have been highly upset with me saying, and they had to come drag him off the field. After that, now he's seeing stars, and he didn't play anymore the first quarter because, I had cleaned his clock. So the next day we're watching the film, and the coach said, Keith, what are you doing this play? You blew your assignment. Hell of a block, but you blocked the wrong guy. I said, Coach, no, I didn't. Remember last year was XYZ? That was my get back play. He said, oh, okay, I got it. Well, just let me know next time you're going to do something like that. Well, hopefully there's no one being next time, but Wilbur Marshall will never forget it because he hit me one time. I got to get him back. So what Antoine Winfield did to the cheater Tyreek Hill, I'm okay with that. Sometimes you got to get you some get back. And, we won the game. They won the game. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm not saying, eye for eye all the time. And, you're supposed to forgive those. But this is football. But as long as it doesn't hurt your team, you got to be able to do that. And so Antoine Winfield, kudos for you for that hit. And I wish I could rewind the clock back to about 25 years so I can play number 32 for the Kansas City Chiefs. The one I said was like a Chihuahua, Tyrann Mathieu. Oh, I would have loved to play against him. I think he's a heck of a player. Don't get me wrong. But players like that, undersized, play a little tough role, dude, you're a little Chihuahua. You're up here with the big dogs. And, we just handle y'all a little differently. When I played against the Tyrann Mathieu's type of players, they used to make my eyes just get big eyes. Well, I'm having fun playing around with you today. You're never going to tackle me, and I'm going to give you the people's elbow every time you get close. Bam! But that's football. No more football talk. Oh, man, until the fall. But that's not totally true. It's football all the time. Football season always ends. Yesterday was the culmination of the 2020 football season, and today is the start of the 2021 off season. So, Cleveland Browns fans, 2020 is over. Cincinnati Bengals fans, guess what? 2020 is over. Everybody's on equal footing. Everybody's 0-0. So you're saying we have a chance to be in the Super Bowl next year? Absolutely. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, congratulations. You're the Super Bowl champs. And guess when was the last time they've been in the playoffs? It's over 10 years ago. And now they're Super Bowl champs today. Cincinnati. Who knows? Where's the Super Bowl at next year, Justin? Is it in Los Angeles?
Indy.
Is it Indianapolis or the new stadium they just built in L.A.? The Indy is the national championship of college football.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes, I think it's in Los Angeles. But we're getting that answer. But Cincinnati Bengals fans, there's SoFi Stadium, the new stadium. I want to go to that Super Bowl. Honey, if you're listening, let's try to make plans to go to Los Angeles. I would love to go to Los Angeles for that game. I need to make some phone calls. Whoever's playing, I haven't been in that new stadium. Hopefully we're out of the pandemic, of course. But the point I'm making is we don't know who's going to play in the Super Bowl next year. Just because you got there this year, no guarantee you're getting back next year. Yes, Kansas City's going to be the early favorite to get there 3 years in a row. San Francisco, they was in the Super Bowl last year. This year, they weren't even in the playoffs. Matter of fact, they're on the clock. They're going to probably be picking in the top 10, aren't they, Justin? San Francisco 49ers? They're going to be picking in the top 10. So, Cleveland, you made the playoffs. Can you take another step and get to the Super Bowl? Buffalo's going to be trying to get back to the Super Bowl. It's going to be tough. So enjoy it right now. But we're going to have a lot to talk about during this offseason. All the teams that want to be in the playoffs, it starts now. Today is the first official day of the offseason. You want to have a good regular season, you have to have a great offseason. Teams that make the playoffs usually do. And Cincinnati, I'm pulling for you. Cleveland, I'm pulling for you. Eagles, I'm pulling for you. Come on, Dolphins, trade for Deshaun Watson. We'll give Tua away for him. It's a chance. New England, Hey, I still got love for the New England Patriots in my heart. I'm pulling for them too. You've been listening to the Keith Byars Radio Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. I'll be back. I think I'm going to join Justin Kenner today on this 3 o'clock show. So I got a lot to say. Super Bowl post-game review. A lot to talk about. But thanks again. Random acts of kindness for your fellow man. Wear your mask and take care of. Love one another. You listen to the Keith Byars Radio Show.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN.